Justin Lobato here at Autogeek Show Car Garage, and we have special guest Todd Helm, who is the Senior Technical Advisor for RUPES USA. And he's going to go over with us what I consider a very technical but unique approach to water polishing, using water to actually polish with. And he's going to explain to us the great benefits that this technique has.
Sure, yeah, and this is one of those ones where when I first heard about it, Jason Rose, who is our global trainer and product developer, had told me about it. Said, yeah, you got to try this technique, it works. And I said, no, you're wrong. And because I'm smart, and my name is Todd Helm, and I'm the Senior Technical Advisor, and I am correct and you're wrong. And I walked away, and then I went out my garage and I thought I would humor him. And then I called him back about 15 minutes later with my tail between my legs and humbly accepted defeat. And it's a good point. I think one of the cool things about this industry is none of us are above learning.
No.
And that will go for you, for me, yeah, for anybody I know, that when we shut that off, and there's so many great resources of knowledge in this industry, that we have to maintain an open mind. And that was just another reminder of that for me.
Well, I'm the detailer in you, right? It's like,
well,
I got to challenge that.
Yeah.
I got to see, because my technique has been one way. Well, we'll try this, we'll entertain it. Yeah. Then you're like, oh, whoa, yeah, that's cool.
That's one of those things where that detailer ego takes over a little bit, and I know more than anybody else because I can polish paint. Yeah. I'm certainly guilty. But water boosting in the basic concept, the way Jason expressed it to me, it works better with fiber pads, so let's say wool or microfiber, and you do your pass, right? So we go over the paint for 45 seconds, we start to wipe off the residue, and we still see that there's some scratches. We didn't get all the defects out. And because there's still some scratches, now we have two options. One, wipe off the residue, reload the pad, and make a second application over the area. We didn't get enough cut in one, so we might as well go again. What Jason suggested was, instead of wiping off the residue, just misting some water on top of the residue on the paint and making 2 section passes, so half the duration over it, then wiping off the residue. And I thought, there's no way that's gonna work. And so of course, when I did that, I found out that his result was absolutely correct. It doesn't work on every paint, and not everybody loves the technique, but it's certainly something to keep. And what we would recommend is using distilled water. Don't use detail spray, don't use something with lubricity or that can clog it. Just regular water, but just give it a mist and keep going. And the reason is, when you're polishing, after about 30 to 45 seconds, the lubricants in your polishing compound start to dry out, and the abrasives and the paint residue start to weld or chip weld themselves onto your polishing pad. That mist of water is not to dilute the compound, it's literally to get those abrasives moving across the surface again. And once you get them going and you've removed a little bit of the lubricity because the water is going to push some of that out, you generally can get more cut. We see 30 to 40% more cut compared to another full application.
Oh, wow.
And it's also one of the secrets we don't really like to tell you about because I'd rather you buy more compounds. Water tends to be relatively affordable.
Yes, right. Now, does this help in this technique contribute or change with the different substrates, such as plastic bumpers, aluminum or metal hoods and fenders? How does that work? Is there somewhere there's benefits to that?
Well, that's another great benefit to water boosting, is when you mist water on the surface, you increase the surface area and you pull some heat out, right? So if you're polishing, let's say, a carbon fiber bumper on an exotic car, or a soft rubber bumper or something like that, where it tends to isolate and hold the heat,
yes,
adding that water boost can actually help keep the surface temperature down.
Oh, wow. Now, what about in some cases where they say they have sticky paint and there's, compound or polishing residue left behind that's stubborn to remove with your microfiber towel? Will this help also with the removal without having to compromise or knuckle down on the paint itself?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the reasons is with sticky paint is you're getting some compound lubricant absorption into the paint. Sticky paint is porous paint, so you get cementing, right? It's cementing the abrasive and the solids onto the paint. So adding a little bit of water directly onto the pad, and maybe even adding a dot of compound residue with the water and going over that surface is going to help pull all that kind of stubborn, sticky residue right off the paint.
Yeah, that makes sense. So biggest thing, distilled water. Gotta use distilled
or
water.
RO or some type of filtered water.
Yeah. It is a unique method. So this is not for every technique, not for every person utilizing it. But in the case where you want to try it out, challenge it, or just hope that it may boost your polishing techniques, this is just one of those methods that will add to your arsenal of things to do to help you get more successful with your finishing results.
Yeah, you can't have too many tools in the toolbox. You just got to know when to use them.
Absolutely. Well, we hope that helps, and it gives you a bigger idea on what water boost can do for your polishing and the benefits of it. If you found this tip helpful, remember to like, subscribe, and follow at Autogeek.com or any of our platforms. And remember, at Autogeek, the beauty is in the details.